A crumpled $40 invoice lay on the restaurant manager's desk while a tired single father stood in the rain outside, holding his little daughter's hand and wondering how he would buy dinner that night. The company laughed at his request, erased his name from their payment system, and treated his work as if it had never existed. 3 days later, the same company watched $12 million disappear in a single morning because the one man they had humiliated was the only person who could have prevented the disaster. What began as a forgotten $40 payment became the most expensive lesson their executives would ever learn. Before we continue, if you believe kindness always comes back, if you believe people deserve respect no matter how small the job may seem, take a second to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to Moments Hub for more emotional stories that remind us why humanity still matters. Nathan Brooks had never imagined that life could become so fragile. At 36 years old, he had once worked as a systems engineer for a respected technology company, earning enough to provide a comfortable home for his wife and newborn daughter. Then life changed without warning. His wife passed away after a sudden illness that lasted only a few weeks, leaving Nathan alone with a 3-year-old daughter named Lily. Overnight, his dreams of promotions and vacations disappeared, replaced by sleepless nights, hospital bills, daycare expenses, and endless sacrifices. He sold his car, moved into a tiny apartment, and accepted freelance technical jobs wherever he could find them. Pride became a luxury he could no longer afford because every decision centered on making sure Lily smiled at least once every day. Nathan discovered that freelance work was unpredictable. Some weeks he earned enough to cover rent, while other weeks he survived on canned soup while pretending he had already eaten so Lily could have the last sandwich. Despite the hardship, he never complained. His daughter believed her father could fix anything, and Nathan worked tirelessly to protect that belief. Every evening he read bedtime stories with excitement he did not always feel, hiding his exhaustion behind warm smiles. He knew children remembered love far more than wealth. One rainy Monday afternoon, Nathan accepted a small emergency job from a growing restaurant chain called Grand Harvest Dining. Their payment system had malfunctioned during lunch hours, causing delays across several locations. The assignment was simple. Restore the software connection, secure the backup server, and submit an invoice for $40 because it was only expected to take about an hour. Nathan completed the work in less than 45 minutes, stabilized their system, and quietly left after thanking the staff. The accounting department promised payment within 24 hours. 24 hours became 2 days. 2 days became nearly a week. Nathan emailed politely, then followed up with another message. Eventually he visited the headquarters because $40 was no longer just $40. It represented groceries, milk, Lily's school lunch, and enough gas for several freelance appointments. He stood patiently in the reception area while executives hurried past without making eye contact. The accounting manager barely glanced at his paperwork before insisting that the invoice could not be located. Nathan calmly showed the completed service report, confirmation emails, and security logs proving the work had been finished. Instead of apologizing, the manager dismissed him with visible irritation. The receptionist quietly watched as Nathan folded the invoice and placed it back into his pocket. She noticed the small girl waiting beside him, clutching a stuffed rabbit with worn-out ears. Lily smiled politely despite not understanding why her father looked so disappointed. Nathan thanked everyone anyway before leaving the building in silence. As they walked through the rain toward the bus stop, Lily looked up and asked whether they could still buy pancakes that evening. Nathan gently squeezed her hand and smiled before telling her they would make something even better at home. His voice remained cheerful, but his heart felt heavier than ever. That evening, dinner consisted of toast and peanut butter. Nathan tucked Lily into bed and spent the night searching for more freelance projects. Near midnight, he received an unusual email from another client requesting emergency consulting for a logistics company that handled digital infrastructure across multiple industries, including restaurant payment networks. The assignment paid well, and Nathan accepted immediately because he needed every opportunity available. The next morning he began reviewing infrastructure reports from several businesses connected to the logistics network. While examining security logs, he noticed something deeply concerning. One of the connected restaurant groups, Grand Harvest Dining, had ignored critical server maintenance for months. During his previous repair visit, he had quietly noticed unusual warning signs but had not been hired to conduct a full inspection. Now, with broader access through the logistics company, the pattern became obvious. Their central database contained a growing vulnerability that could trigger a complete payment processing collapse if left unresolved. Nathan immediately documented every technical detail and submitted a professional report to his new employer. Since Grand Harvest was only an indirect client, Nathan had no authority to contact them directly through confidential channels. His report moved through official procedures while executives continued focusing on expansion projects rather than cybersecurity. 3 days after refusing Nathan's $40 invoice, disaster arrived. It began during the busiest breakfast rush in company history. Thousands of payment terminals stopped communicating with central servers. Online orders disappeared. Inventory systems malfunctioned. Customer information became temporarily inaccessible. Delivery contracts automatically failed, triggering penalty clauses across dozens of suppliers. Financial markets reacted to rumors of a massive cyber attack. Investors panicked. Share prices collapsed before lunchtime. Although customer funds remained protected, the operational shutdown spread across hundreds of restaurant locations nationwide. Every passing hour multiplied losses through cancelled transactions, emergency recovery costs, damaged contracts, legal obligations, and market value decline. By the end of the third day, financial analysts estimated the total damage at nearly $12 million. Executives rushed into emergency meetings searching desperately for specialists capable of identifying the original weakness. Several consulting firms reviewed the system. None found the root cause. Finally, someone from the logistics company presented Nathan's earlier security report. Silence filled the conference room. The report contained exact predictions, precise technical explanations, recommended fixes, estimated timelines, and documentation proving that Nathan had recognized the vulnerability before the collapse occurred. One executive slowly remembered the exhausted single father carrying a folded $40 invoice. The accounting manager turned pale. The same man they had ignored had already shown them how to avoid the catastrophe. The company immediately attempted to contact Nathan. Their calls went unanswered because Nathan was busy helping another client recover from unrelated technical issues. He believed Grand Harvest simply wanted more unpaid assistance and chose to focus on paying customers instead. Hours later, a senior executive personally drove to Nathan's apartment. Instead of finding an expensive consultant living in luxury, they discovered a modest building with peeling paint, bicycles leaning against cracked walls, and children's drawings taped inside a tiny living room window. Nathan opened the door wearing simple clothes after returning from work. Lily sat nearby coloring pictures at a small table. The executive finally understood what $40 had truly meant. It had never been about money alone. It had been about dignity. Nathan listened quietly while the executive apologized for everything that had happened. The company admitted their mistake, acknowledged the unpaid invoice, and requested immediate assistance restoring confidence across their technology systems. Nathan remained calm. He accepted the apology without anger because bitterness would not improve his daughter's future. He agreed to help under one condition. Every freelance contractor, cleaner, delivery driver, technician, and temporary worker would be treated with fairness, respect, and guaranteed payment regardless of invoice size. The executive accepted immediately. Nathan spent the next 48 hours leading a recovery team that repaired damaged systems, strengthened infrastructure, improved cybersecurity policies, and established emergency monitoring procedures that prevented future failures. His calm leadership surprised everyone. Despite the company's treatment of him, he encouraged teamwork rather than blame. He believed fixing broken systems was easier than fixing broken character, but both were possible when people accepted responsibility. News of the recovery quietly spread throughout the industry. Other companies learned about Nathan's professionalism and integrity. Freelance requests poured in faster than he could answer them. Instead of accepting every project, Nathan founded a small consulting firm focused on ethical technology management and fair treatment of independent workers. His first hiring policy became famous among employees. Every invoice would be reviewed within 24 hours because behind every payment request stood a human being with responsibilities, families, and dreams. Months later, Grand Harvest introduced a contractor respect program inspired directly by Nathan's experience. Payment disputes dropped dramatically. Employee satisfaction improved. Vendors preferred working with the company again because trust slowly returned. The accounting manager publicly admitted their mistake during an internal leadership conference, explaining that arrogance had cost far more than generosity ever would. Nathan's greatest reward, however, came at home. Lily no longer worried about empty refrigerators. She started attending music lessons she had dreamed about for years. They celebrated birthdays without calculating every dollar. Every Friday evening they still made pancakes together, not because they had to save money anymore, but because those simple meals reminded them where they had come from and how far they had traveled together. One evening Lily asked why her father had helped the people who treated him unfairly. Nathan smiled gently and explained that revenge creates temporary satisfaction, but character creates lasting change. He wanted her to grow into someone who measured success not only by wealth but by compassion. The world already had enough powerful people. What it needed were more kind people. Years later, Nathan's consulting company became one of the most respected firms in the industry, advising businesses across the country on cybersecurity, leadership, and ethical workplace practices. His story was never advertised as a tale about losing $40 or gaining professional success. Instead, it became a reminder that every person deserves respect regardless of their position, appearance, or paycheck. The smallest act of kindness can protect millions, while the smallest act of disrespect can destroy fortunes. Before we reach the ending, tell us in the comments, if you were Nathan, would you have helped the company after everything they did, or would you have walked away forever? As Nathan watched Lily graduate years later, he realized the greatest victory had never been recovering lost money or earning industry recognition. His true success was raising a daughter who believed kindness was strength, honesty was courage, and forgiveness was not weakness. The $40 they once desperately needed had become a lesson worth far more than $12 million because it transformed not only one company but countless lives connected to it. If this story touched your heart, inspired you, or reminded you that every person deserves kindness and respect, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Moments Hub. Your support helps us continue bringing emotional stories that restore faith in humanity and remind the world that even the smallest act of compassion can change someone's life forever.